front here. We'll start from the front and we'll work our way back. Right. So in the front, you just have a pedal hook. You have a pedal hook on your truck. Sure. We got air tools.
We didn't know how high.
So you got a 7-pole connector spade. It has everything except reverse lights, and then just a breakaway hitch. If you got the machine came away, brake, it applies with the battery of the pump. Now if you let the battery go dead, of course the breakaway won't work. You have a cross. We give you enough links so you can cross the chains, and that way if it comes off, right on the chains, instead of hit the ground and tear away from the machine. And then we just have a simple pull jack, single stage. Yeah. If you get it too high, of course you have to put a piece of wood under there. Working on. So the engine is a Deutz PD 2011. So at 250 engine hours here on the hour meter, when you get 250, you're gonna spin all the filters off. There's fuel, oil.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then in the front here, there's an air filter. Yeah. 2 bolts takes this cleaner off, and then you can access that. Yeah. So that's at 250 engine hours. And along with that, you're going to change the hydraulic filter here. There's a gauge. In the morning, you're going to see a little red. The oil's cold. It's sucking, it just works off vacuum pressure. So this is at the end of the job. It should be in the green. At 250 engine hours, even if it's in the green, take it off. We use an AW46, an Anywhere 46 on hydraulic fluid. So you should, in theory, if you change the filters, you should get 4,600 hours. That'd be what you should. You should. Yeah. Here we give you a maintenance log. 250 hours. You sign up on it. What's your name? Hours. So, and then on the other side, your battery's on. There is a cooling fan, and we leave them on all the time. It's up to you. Usually when it drops below 30, it gave the option of turning it off. What climate are you in?
Alabama. North Alabama. So pretty warm.
Yeah, pretty warm. So I mean, you get some cold. Most owner operators take that wire and put them together. So every time you start it, it's always on.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's up to you. I don't remember Alabama dropping below 30.
It doesn't have miles.
Yeah. So I would probably put the wire together, and that way it's always on. It gave you the option. So moving on.
There you go.
The flow control works on a percentage on. It's just a remote regulator for the main drive pump. So percentage-wise, you screw all the way in, 0%. You screw all the way out, it's 100%. So every screw is about 2%. Working on the agitator. You got a forward, neutral, and reverse. If you look in there, you'll see that the paddles, they're not very big. So in a 8-9 inch slump scenario, they're not really, except, duplicable, you know what I mean? Now in a 2 and a 3 inch slump, doing curb mix, they are. So you'd always be spinning them into the cylinders. So I leave them, the rod facing towards me, and it's always in a forward gear, always. So whether you get it 3 or 8, 10, 12 inch slump, it's always turning one way. Do use them, because that's what it's for. If you have a half-hour wait, I put a little bit of water in there, forward, reverse, kind of mix it up a little bit. Use it, because if you don't, it'll freeze in that spot. You'll never get, so that's what it's for, to use it.
Right.
Yeah. So the rods, we're explaining about the water issue. So when you fill it up in the morning, fill it all the way up, and it'll splash out whatever it doesn't need. At the end of the day, however, you're going to drain it. The chrome rods that you see there in the casing, chrome and steel dissipate at a different rate, and then there's rubber neoprene packings in there that dissipate in another rate. So what's going to happen is that chrome rod and that steel case will contract and expand at a different rate, and the chrome packing will let water come by. So then in the morning you're going to return that back to tank. So every day you're returning water if you leave water in it. So at the end of the job, I always dump it. Now they say that from the factory you can leave it under the rod. You can, but I mean you'll forget, and you'll just keep filling it up. I tell everybody, let it all out, and in the morning fill it up. Okay. Real easy. So returning water. So because the diesel has returning fuel, and you have hot and cold condensation in the tank, there's a low spot on the tank in here too also. So Edward's going to send you a daily, weekly, monthly, and a yearly inspection. This would be under the monthly inspection. You don't need to leave much off. See the little valve there? You're just gonna crack it loose in about a water bottle cap. That's all you need. And this is in the morning level. The water and hydraulic fluid have separated, and the diesel and the water are separated. You do this on a level ground in the morning before you leave for your job. You do this in the monthly. Yeah. So working on to the back here. So you have a set of valves here in your inspection head. And then, so the orange box up on top is your remote system. And we discussed it, it's a remote system that can transport. I make it easy. Within 5 minutes, you take 4 little bolts off, unsnap it, move it to another machine if you want. The next set of hand valves, the first one to your far left is working the pistons back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you push that in the center, you see that E pin, it looks like a bullseye.
You see it right here?
Yeah. If you push that in manually, you can get that cylinder to go all the way down and it'll stop. So then you go on the other side and push it back, and then now the cylinder will come all the way back.
Just in case that your electronic system has malfunction or a proximity switch is bad or something like that, you can force the system from there. Because essentially the signal does the same thing you'll be doing with your finger.
Okay. So the valve closest to you is for shift over. Back, forth, back, forth. So one side will switch to the left, one side will switch to the right.
That will get you out of a pinch, like if something went wrong on your machine, you got concrete in there, you can just pump manually like that.
Okay. So the big bottle that you see is an accumulator. So that's a inert gas, nitrogen in there. There's 100 bar of inert gas, and then this first Barnes pump gives you another 100. So when you start the machine up, you're going to see that's stored energy in the accumulator. That's waiting for something to cue it to shift over. So that's what you can draw from. So you're going to see where this snaps off. It's going to go, 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 and then boom, fall off. This will be on your monthly inspection. This is the test of gas that's in the bottle. It's going to go, 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 go. Boom, it snaps off. Yeah. So when it gets below, so from 60 to 85 is the specs. If it gets around 40, the pump is capable of bringing it up to 125 bar. However, it'll overheat the pump. So you need enough gas in there that they can work together. When you start getting around 40, you need to call us. You need to figure out why. Either it's like a bicycle tire. If you leave it sitting dormant, it's going to go flat. Some steel get in there and puncture the tube, go flat. Yeah. On the basis, you shouldn't go flat. It should have about a 10-year shelf life. Should. However, you know, the Schrader valve pops out. Who knows? I mean, you know, anything can happen. These pumps beat themselves to death. I mean, anything's happening. I mean, we refurb them, and then tomorrow before you make it at home, something has fallen off, or you know, or the first job, you know, I mean, that's used equipment for you. You know what I mean? It's hard to get everything 100% all the time. You know what I mean? On the basis, these machines are kind of seasoned, so we should have all the loopholes, the downfalls already worked out of it. Should. You get a new one. They've been having a lot of problems with the DTF, the regen. So regen has to work at 45% power. So then the machine will just idle down.
This is free all that, right?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
You don't have any of that.
Yeah.
No
So
DEF, no that.
this unit should have all the bugs worked out. So it should. I mean, most of our customers keep going 2 or 3 years, no problem, before you have to rebuild something. Yeah. So in the back, then working our way to the back, you have your agitator, and then everything like we discussed in the morning. Everything's about grease on these things. Everything's about grease. So then you have your essentially greased 3 for the front, 4 for the back, 1 for your agitator, and 1 for your motor-sided agitator. There is 4 more, but that's under your weekly inspection. So you have 1 here, 1 on the other side, and then your monthly for your trailer. Yeah, so there is 4. So like I said, he's gonna send you the PDF, download it, it's helpful. And that gives you a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a yearly inspection. A lot of these things won't mean anything because you'll forget most of them, but you've got the video to go back.
Yeah, that's very handy.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember him showing me this. We do use LED lights, so you should, by Grody, you should, as long as 2 embers don't burn out, they have a lifetime warranty. Sure. Yeah. So the outrigger configuration is you let the front all the way down, set the rear, and then eject the front up, and that'll get the tension off the back. Anything over 2,500, I don't set the outriggers. I've heard cases of guys with 1,500 Chevy trucks. It usually takes about 3 or 4 years, but it'll finally blow the S end. And that's just from rocking in your pump. Anything over 25, 3,500, not applicable, you know. The rear ends are too big then, you know what I mean? The only way I set the outriggers is if I'm on the job and I take a tire. Because if you leave this on the job, it will disappear, I guarantee you. It will. They're like little hotcakes. They grow feet and walk off. You wonder what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Especially a 40. 40 is the most universal pump on the market. That's what
It's very sought after, very sought after.
If you blow a tire on the highway and you figure, okay, I'll take that tire off and go to the store and come back,
it's gone.
It's gone. You'll drive that some bitch home. You know?
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you a GPS.
Okay, cool deal.
Yeah. The TKs are really sought after. That's what put Putzmeister on the market. It's a 40. Cool. They're very versatile. You know, you can go up 10 floors, you can pump big rock, you can do anything with them. You know what I mean?
Right. Can make a lot of money with them.
Yeah. And they're a little forgiving. Not a lot, but they are forgiving. If you take a clamp off 200 feet, you know, might lose an eyeball. You know what I mean? Whereas a 70, you put the clamp around your neck. That'd be it. You'd be speaking to Jesus with a clamp around your neck. What happened? I don't know. He said, "Take it off." I took it off, and that's all I remember. I'm just talking
and found out.
Yeah. So they're a little forgiving. Always verify 0 anytime you're working on both gauges. Always verify 0. Now you shut the machine off, let it bleed off, boom, it hits 0 on both gauges. Now you know the machine's safe. When you plug, it will hold pressure. Now the accumulator gauge doesn't mean anything to you. You're looking at main pressure. So where you plug. So you're going. You're going to the first hose. This is when you're priming out. You go to the second hose. You turn it off. You don't hold pressure. I feel it. It gets soft. I know where the pressure is. I go 1 stroke in reverse. That takes the pressure off the main drive. Boom, now it's safe to open up. Open it up, beat it out, shake that sand out, put them together, let's go.
Okay. That's where the remote comes handy too, right? That way you ain't walking 200 yards.
But never take anybody's consideration, you know, hey, put it in reverse, you hear boom, boom, and then go do it. I always look at the gauge. Even for 20 foot, you can see the gauge, you know?
Right.
I'm always looking at the gauge, always. I always verify 0. Not that I don't trust you, I don't trust you. You know what I mean?
Hold this, please. Thank you.
So. Okay, so
you said it's usually at 200 bars?
the accumulator, you're going to be riding between 125 and 150 on the accumulator. Now pressure depends on, there's a lot of variables. You've got length of hose and what kind of slump you have, and then what kind. Right. You know, is it straight Portland? Is it all?
What you're pumping?
Right.
That's
so,
a lot of PSI. I know that. 4,000 right there.
Well, that's a lot. If you're pumping at 4,000, holy shit, you're about to blow some hoses.
Yeah, you only got about 250, and then that machine will just stop. So that's all you got to draw from.
Gotcha.
So with 200 foot of pump mix with a lot of fly ash in it at an 8-inch slump, you might get around 100. You know, for 200 feet. Gotcha. You drop down in slumps, and then it's going to start climbing. If you speed it up, it's going to climb. Okay. So there's a lot of variables there.
Gotcha.
So usually, if I got 200 feet, and the driver puts it in, and we're pumping along, and I look over and I see it at 175. Boom, boom. I'll either try to slow it down a little bit. Okay, it's still at 175. Hey driver, you need to add 10 gallons that thing, and then she'll go way down. You know, she'll go back down 125, and then I can speed it up again. You know what I mean? Right. So there's a lot of variables you can play with. Okay. So anything about the outside of the machine, as far as mechanical wise?
No, pretty good.
Okay. Okay. So then we talked about the EW46, and you do have a gauge here. You've got a high and a low. Leave it at the high. Anything over, it gives you about 2 inches for expansion before it'll blow it up to 2. So if you fill it past the high and you put another 5 gallons in, it's just going to blow it back out for the expansion. So between the high and the low is 5 gallons. So when you get down to about the 40 mark, that's when I fill, usually.
Where are you filling that?
See the silver cap?
Gotcha.
So if you get a leak, can you think about this? So I told you the machine is cleaning itself all day long, all day, even at idle, it's cleaning itself. So if you can believe this, by you adding bulk oil, it's dirty. Bulk oil is dirty by nature. You know, the guy opens up the lid and kicks in there. Yeah, it looks like about 1,500 gallons, and he closes the lid, and there's dirt constantly going in. We get it, we clean it, we put it in your machine. Now the machine's cleaning itself. You now add more oil, it's making it dirty. So if you see a leak, find it. I know hydraulics cheap is, you know, fluid is relatively cheap, and you figure, it's a little, tweak it a little bit. I'll get to it later. Fight it, you know, before it gets out of control.
Right.
And the story goes, never do anything on the job. If you see a little leak, put a bucket in there. Wait till you get home, because by the time you turn that, it'll pop off and it kills your job. You know what I mean? So I usually let it run for about 10 minutes before I leave. You know, the house. I look at, check the oil. I stroke it once. Okay, I see no leaks. Boom, I go to the job. So as you get a good practice, you know. Another tip. Before I leave the job, I pop the trap door for the water box. I let the piston come down, and there's 4 bolts that hold that piston cup on there. I stop it. I wash it out. I look at those 4 bolts. They're not loose. I put it in forward. I let the other side come down. I stop it. Wash it out. They're not loose. So that'll be under your monthly inspection. There is a keyway and a cutter pin that locks them in, but that's not always foolproof. They do back off.
Yeah, they move.
Just because for a million years, they you know, a hydraulic engineer will tell you when that cylinder goes down, it doesn't turn. They do turn. They do. I've seen it myself. If you mark one side and do 3 jobs and come back, that mark will be at the bottom. They do spin in there. So by right, they're always spinning clockwise, so the rotation. They loosen themselves up. So you got your gauges, your throttle guide here. Like we discussed, you must run this at 2,200 RPMs all the way out. And then you would vary it with your flow control. Right? So we talked about the accumulator gauge, stored energy, and that's just for the shift over, and then your main drive. So that's on the head of the piston. That's not 300 feet downstream, that's at the head of the piston. You push it. If you plug, and you're going along and you plug, and you turn it off, and you feel the hose, and it's soft, coming off the reducer, and you know it's in the machine somewhere. I usually back it up about 6 strokes, and then go forward and see if I can shoot up with the agitator. If it plugs again, then I know it's in the reducer. I let the pressure off, press the reducer, look at it. Usually a piece of steel from the truck or wherever, even mud flap, a frog will do you. Ooh, it'll plug you up good. Washers are notorious because they use half washers to hold their bends up. Right. And when they do, they just cut them off and let them fall in the sand. You know, you get it, you know. Yeah. On the operator's control panel, right? So you got key switch, you got your start button. It's a little tricky. I just usually hold the button and then just turn it. Local and remote, right? So if you use a hardline cable or your remote, you switch it over from local to remote. E-stop. So you press that, the engine will stop. If you lift the grade up, it'll take it out of pump forward. So if you come over here, there is a upper safety switch. You can't lift the grade up while you're pumping. So if you do, it'll stop it in the forward gear. So you're gonna call me and tell me, hey man, I had it in pump forward and it was pumping great, and then all of a sudden it stopped. Okay, did your grade come up? Ha 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 ha, yeah. So usually good would get you, most of the time, in a 9-inch slump, it falls on the ground. In a 3-inch slump, it doesn't, so it's the grade up. It's so stiff. So when you back up, yeah. So kind of watch that. And the switches, they're using micro switches, they're not foolproof. Someday you're going to call me in about 3 years and say, hey man, it won't do anything. And we find out it's electrical. Then we come in here and open it up, and you put the 2 wires together, boom, it starts pumping. So it's not infallible. I mean, we probably replace 1,000 switches in a year. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, from anywhere from guys calling us off the street to the new ones that we send out. You know, we're constantly putting new ones in. Right. Constantly. And you're working in hospital conditions with water and cement. The worst thing you can do. Of course. I mean,
No, se colgó.
If you look over
Hazme
here,
el favor, alístate todo lo del release y todo con Diego, please. ¿Sí? No, pues aún no me ha llegado, pero al menos alistemos todos los papeles.
Chew them down enough.
Sí, para que quede todo listo. Hay que
You see where the chrome has come apart?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, solo el remoto.
That's sand and water. Got the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
So
okay.
everything was good intention. But
Right.
we dump 6 of these a year, and it's all the same effect. It's somebody, oh
Okay,
yeah, I grease it good. Yeah, you grease it. Like I said, I trust you. I don't trust you. You know what I mean? Bring it here, we'll rip it
Le
down.
entregamos. Gracias.
That's me and the company's biggest argument is that looks good. Well, looks and what it actually is 2 different stories. You know?
Right.
Only because we don't know how the last guy maintained it. You know what I mean? We don't. You don't know until you pull them apart.
Right.
And then by the time we pull them apart, well, fuck, then we might as well rebuild it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
trust me, we're always trying to figure out how we can save a little money here and there, but there is no saving. You know what I mean? Let's pull it apart. You pull it apart. That's it.
Right.
You know. And unfortunately, everything costs $1,000. So you know what I mean? You got to
Yeah,
grease
everything
them.
is very expensive.
You got to grease
Seems to be
them.
the minimum on anything, which these things like.
Yeah, you got to grease, man. That's the main thing. Grease them and keep them clean. So you know what I mean? If I got to beat concrete off to fix something, you know what I mean? Everyone's going to charge shit out of you. So that's the 2 main things. Just try to keep them clean and grease that bloody piss out of them.
All right.
Okay, so working up, you got 3 gauges here, huh? You got your e-stop. It tells you your e-stop's on, and then you just got a battery and your oil. Yeah. You got your fans. Yeah. You've got reverse and reverse off. Your test, we're going to get into that, and then pump on and pump off. Okay, so on a Putz and a Schwing, a little bit different here. Putz is hydraulically trying to drive their cylinder, whereas Putz is electronically trying to push it. So there's actually a forward gear on a Schwing. This is called a forward, but actually you're turning the pump on. It's naturally in a forward gear, always. You have to make it go in reverse. So when I want to make it go in reverse, I put it in reverse, and then I turn the machine on. And now it's in a reverse gear. It's sucking back. It's just a reverse of its set protocol. You know, it goes A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. When you turn that switch on, it goes C, B, you know, in reverse, right? So when I turn it off, I take it out of forward, and then turn the machine back on.
Pump forward.
And then now you're in a forward gear. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit different in theory, but, you know, it's the same. You're achieving the same. But when you turn the machine on, it's always in a forward. Yeah.
All right.
So that's how that works.
Gotcha.
And then like we discussed, that's important. You got a middle, nothing will work. And then you got your remote setting. Only it's going to remote, only when it communicates it's going to work. Yeah.
Okay.
So anything about the main panel. Hour meter, RPM, and then you got the engine temperature. This is an air-cooled engine. TD 2011 is air-cooled. So when the engine gets hot, there's no alarm. It just shut off.
It does shut off though?
It just shut off, yeah.
That's good.
So if a belt breaks, there's a cool. So if you look on here, it's in a cowling. That's actually air being inducted and it's blowing through. There's an oil cooler in here.
Okay.
And then there's an oil cooler control spring here. If the ball goes bad or something like that. Usually they don't overheat. Usually. Deutsch has probably got a pretty good name for themselves. I hate to say it, but a fucking German's gonna make a hell of a diesel on me. I don't know how that happened. We found the shit out of them a couple years ago. But they make a one hell of a diesel. So, Deutsch has got a really good name. They're probably the leaders in diesels as far as industrial motors. They're probably the leader.
Cool.
And Caterpillar's got a pretty good product.
That's on the Schwing, man.
Gunmar's pretty good. Schwing, yeah.
Yeah, they got
Schwing used Deutsch for years.
Really?
However, Deutsch, has sat back and said, you know what, we're at the top of the food chain. We're no longer going to sell them to you for $14,000. We're selling them for $18,000.
Right.
Well, we can't pass that cost along because we're already up there. We can't, so we have to get another engine. So that's the reason why they went to Caterpillar. They would no longer pay Deutsch prices. So, but it's nice when you're the big boy, you can kind of do that.
Leverage.
But the C4 was made for a pump. So it's been in there for what, 10 years now?
Yeah.
So it's got a pretty good, it's got a pretty good.
Actually more, 16 years.
Yeah,
2000.
It's drawn a pretty good crowd. I mean, they've been proven. I mean, the nice thing about American motors is the ejectors are big. So it'll suck dirt, engine oil, cooking oil, whatever. It'll suck it down there. Whereas the Deutsch are real acceptable to dirty fuel, real acceptable.
Okay.
We had an engine here, Deutsch, was it electronic?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
We got a little bit of water in it. Oh boy, it was terrible.
It took a computer to clear it out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We had to connect it to a.
So that's how
System.
precise the Germans are. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as far as efficient, they're pretty good. So So any questions on the
Man,
operation?
yeah. Great.
I got you here anyway.
a lot of stuff you forget, but
Yeah, that's
That's why this is good. I'll put it up today, and it'll be uploaded by tomorrow. Okay.
We really
the
appreciate
engine
that.
we
Yeah,
are
yeah,
using the full
absolutely.
synthetic. It's a 10W30 Tier 4 Rotilla. So we are using a full synthetic per the manufacturer.
And
You
what
can-
was the hydraulic fluid?
AW46.
It's on there.
Yeah, well, actually it's not, but I guess it's here.
There we go. That'll work.
and it'll be on your PDF file.
Yes,
Okay.
you will be on the
Cool.
video. I'll send you a maintenance protocol for the for these pumps.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a link, right?
No, actually, try to download. It could be a link or it could be a download, whichever. I'll see how big it is.
Okay.
Typically, it is you write a link.
Sounds great.
And then you store it to your computer and you just kind of go over it, certain parts. I think it's 500 sheets, so it's going to be a lot to down, to copy and then,
Right.
put your truck.
Yeah.
So I usually just every day I go over 10 sheets, over 10 sheets, over 10 sheets.
Yeah.
And then it's all about a good practice. When you get to the job and when you leave the job. What you do, once you figure out, okay, I need to check. What are the key points I need to check? You write them all down, and then every morning you kind of stick to them. It makes it easy. I check the oil. I check the hydraulic fluid. I check the air. I check this. I
You
check
said that was one of the main problems, these guys not doing that and then blowing up.
Yeah, blow it up. Yeah. Boss, it looked okay to me. I mean,
It's a big
So-
investment. We don't
Yes, definitely.
take care of.
you should. A Putzer has known with a good operator, they'll last twice as long as Schwing. With a bad operator, it will cost you twice as much. So
Right.
True.
they're
It's a
good and bad.
Mercedes for sure.
Okay.
But they're the two big boys on the block. Everybody's got an idea how to skin the cat, and Ford and Schwing, Schwing and Putz are no different. Putz said we could do it electronically. Schwing says no, we can do it hydraulically. So, we'll go over your remote real quick, and then you take it home and blow it up. Okay, so on the remote, it has a range of about 750 feet. We went to that tower there, through buildings, it still worked. And
Two
this
buildings
machine
across.
was in the building.
Yeah.
So they got a distance. The manufacturer says 1,000, but realistically probably 750. You're never going to go past 500 feet anyways. We did one job in our whole life with 500 feet. I don't want to do it again. It was in the swamp.
It was in the river, right?
Yeah.
Through a river, through a swamp. I mean, it was, through alligators.
Okay, you turn the machine on. Let's just get this. Okay. So you're going to turn the machine on.
In remote.
And remote. So I unclick it. I press the start 1 and 2 in till they stop blinking. Ah. Boom, they're communicating, right? I hit forward, the forward light comes on. You hit reverse, the reverse light comes on. Then I'm putting in a reverse gear. I turn it back off, turn the reverse off, put it back in pump gear. Yeah. You turn it off, the machine's going to shut off. Yeah, I put a binary in there where it's just going to shut off on you. So if you lose signal with it, the batteries don't hold up, whatever, boom, it shuts off. You come over here, put it on local, it fires right back up. They've lost communication. For every signal, it throws itself another signal. So you shouldn't have any interference, not with a 900 megahertz. Shouldn't. Maybe at an airport or something that's using another 900. One of them guys that have the two-way direct connect radios or something like that, you probably need to stay away from them because they're using the same frequency. But it's always looking for another frequency every time you use something. So it requires 4 AA batteries. I keep them in the Gulf compartment in the truck. It comes in a power pack. You just unclip it and take the 4 batteries out, put them in there, clip it right back in. Boom, you're done. So this green light will blink red when you get low on battery. See the green light?
Yeah.
It'll flash red. That gives you about a day of use.
Okay.
So I keep 4 batteries in the glove box. When I see it at my end of my job, I switch them out, and then I get another 4 and put them back in the glove box. That's how I do it. You guys can go to 7-Eleven in the middle of a job, and it's up to you guys. Okay. So remember, just flip it clockwise, pop back out. Yeah. Hold it till it stops. Boom. Yeah.
Okay.
They're communicating when it starts flashing slow. Starting to flash slow. Boom. You're set. Forward. Yeah. And then run your main panel. And then you got yeah. I'll leave it in a remote setting so when you get home you can use the remote. And then you can call Edward, says the machine doesn't work, and just go over it with you.
Yeah, right. We gotta go over the whole thing. How many times we do that?
Yeah.
Like it is almost daily that people call us and say, hey, this thing doesn't want to pump. The hopper grade is up, or they got all kinds of e-stops pressed, or the guy is here pressing every button like a DJ and confuses the fuck out of the machine. Yeah.
What's this button do?
That's right.
So it comes with a belt clip, and then you got a solder strap in the case with you.
Okay.
So I just make a good practice. Edward has recently told me that this is 80% of the total bill of the whole
For the
unit.
remote control.
So if you leave this on top and you drive away and you lose it, you might as well buy a whole new one.
Yeah.
So I get into good practice. When the guy tells me I'm done, I go in manual setting and I put this in the truck. So be fair warned, we replace a lot of them. So
A lot, man.
Yeah.
Problem is the technology really is here, not in the receiver. The receiver is just the translator. That's all. So it's not really that expensive.
yeah.
So when you call me and you say I want one of these, you're probably gonna be paying about $1,500 just for the damn thing.
Right.
When that was the whole thing with everything was $1,900. So a lot of people call me and say, hey, why is this so expensive? It's just a remote. It should be half.
That's where it is.
That is where the money is in this, in the technology behind this thing.
I got you.
So are you guys leaving with this today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. The money is clear in the account. Everything is good. I just checked, so we're good on that. Let's. I like to let them fire it up and see what we can do with that. Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
So keep in mind, there's a lot of variables. You read the rigid up, and you got the flow control. So if it's turned all the way in, and you put it pump forward and it'll do nothing, you know it's at 1% or 0%. It's not gonna move much. You gotta back it all slow.
There you go. All right, man.
That's
So you gotta pull it.
pull it and then I'll.
There you go. Remember, press the. Gotta go pump So, you got. I like how cautious you are with it.
Yeah. I can hear DJ Kit from in the office in there.
Well, what he was doing, he was going straight from forward to reverse. So that essentially is like I was explaining. It's as if you were going in reverse, getting your vehicle out of the driveway, and as it's falling, you immediately put it in first. It'll do something to that transmission. It is the same thing here. Okay. It is best practice to stop it from pumping, meaning pressing the brake on the car and then go forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Because you got two coils energized, and that saber in the center is sharp at either end. If you grab it on the other end, it'll slam it into the nose cone, and sometimes you won't get out of flirt.
Yep.
So you gotta let the machine off and then turn. So that way, because when you turn it off, it centers itself. That's how it's turning off. You drop the energy off of it, it centers, and then now it's going either way. You grab it reverse, and now it pulls it over one way by electricity. Okay. So when you go from forward to reverse, it slams it across the board, you know, so it can't get stuck. More so in a boom pump because they're bigger, but it does happen. It does happen in not as common, but it can. And that's good your whole day. That's it. You're done. You're done.
And the remote does the.
Well, let's try it with the remote now. No,
doesn't just
forward
forward
because it's not electronic. This is a manual. Let's try him with the wireless remote. Let's see. It is the same principle.
The parts that are blanked out, it's an expandable system. So as you add more stuff on it, we can program it to do it. Okay. So you can add electronic throttle. You can add electronic volume control. There's a couple things. You can add a horn. So those buttons, those missing buttons you can see, we can expand to.
Okay.
Just shits and giggles. How much does that cost?
This is $3,500 just for the volume control, and the throttle I think is like $1,900 around there, $1,700. Because what it does is we have to create an actuator arm that is electronically controlled through a potentiometer and things like that. So
okay, I got you.
It's the whole thing is like $4,000, something like that, maybe a little more.
Okay.
All right, let's crank up the pump. Let's get it working with the wires.
Turn the key switch on. Okay. You're going to put it in a remote. All right. And then you're going to make them communicate.
So you can't swap it when it's on.
Oh, to the.
Harold, you can swap it when it's on anyway.
Correct, you can.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just getting into practice of how to start it, this way. But yeah, if you're already have the machine on, you turn that on, you can go right to from local to remote.
Okay. Okay.
So once it starts flashing slow, you know it's communicating, then you go ahead and start it up.
All right.